Do you ever wonder why some people with ADHD seem to be constantly seeking dopamine? Well, the thing is, all brains crave dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter that makes us feel good. But for individuals with ADHD, their brains have a lower level of dopamine, so they are constantly searching for more. This constant search for dopamine can lead to restless behavior, impulsivity, and difficulty focusing. Unlike neurotypical brains that release a normal amount of dopamine, ADHD brains may release less dopamine, leading to a constant need for stimulation. This need for stimulation can manifest as hyperactivity in children or as restlessness in adults with ADHD. While all brains need dopamine for proper functioning, the difference is in the brain's ability to regulate dopamine levels. The lack of dopamine regulation in ADHD brains can result in an ongoing pursuit of activities that provide dopamine release, such as taking risks or seeking out exciting experiences. In contrast, neurotypical brains have a more balanced dopamine release, which leads to a stable mood and focus. The constant search for dopamine in ADHD brains can disrupt daily life, making it challenging to complete tasks or concentrate for extended periods. To compensate for lower dopamine levels, individuals with ADHD may engage in impulsive behaviors that result in temporary dopamine boosts. These behaviors can include excessive talking, seeking novelty, or indulging in substances that artificially increase dopamine levels. ADHD brains may also struggle with delayed gratification because they are constantly seeking immediate dopamine release. It's important to note that not all ADHD individuals have the same level of dopamine deficiency, as it can vary from person to person. Understanding the difference in dopamine regulation helps explain why individuals with ADHD may exhibit certain behaviors that are not typically seen in neurotypical individuals. There is a key difference in how ADHD brains versus neurotypical brains respond to and regulate dopamine. All human brains seek dopamine, as it is a neurotransmitter associated with motivation, focus, learning, and feelings of reward. However, ADHD brains have lower baseline levels of dopamine overall. ADHD brains also have differences in their dopamine receptors and transporters that make dopamine signals weaker. This leads to impaired impulse control and executive function. Neurotypical brains produce a steady level of dopamine and can better regulate surges through reuptake mechanisms. ADHD brains struggle to regulate fluctuating dopamine levels. ADHD brains exhibit more dramatic dopamine spikes and crashes in response to stimulation. Everyday tasks don't provide enough dopamine, leading to distraction-seeking behavior. Medications used to treat ADHD like stimulants target the dopamine system. They boost levels to improve concentration and counter the chronic dopamine deficiency. While all human brains experience reward from dopamine, ADHD brains have dysfunctional dopamine signaling that causes key cognitive symptoms. It's not just about craving more dopamine, but instability in dopaminergic pathways. So, in summary, the constant search for dopamine in ADHD is due to biological differences in how dopamine is processed and regulated. The ADHD brain struggles to maintain focus and respond appropriately without extra dopamine-boosting strategies. Now that you know the difference, you can understand why individuals with ADHD are constantly searching for dopamine.